What if I told you the most dangerous part of the Iran war is not the missiles, not the drones, and not even the oil, but the fact that most people think they already understand it? Because this is not a simple war. It's not a clean story of one side attacking another. It's a layered conflict where history, power, energy, and strategy are all colliding at the same time. And the real question is not just why it started, but why it started now. How the war actually began. The 2026 Iran war officially escalated on February 28 when the United States, along with Israel, launched a series of coordinated airstrikes targeting Iran. These weren't symbolic strikes meant to send a message. They were large-scale, high-intensity operations designed to damage critical infrastructure. Military bases, missile systems, and locations linked to Iran's nuclear activities were among the primary targets. What made this moment so significant was not just the scale of the attack, but the speed at which everything unfolded. Within hours, hundreds of strikes had been reported. This kind of rapid escalation is rare and signals something important. It suggests that the planning had been in place long before the first missile was launched. Iran's response came quickly. Missiles and drones were launched toward multiple targets, and tensions spread across the region almost immediately. What started as a focused military operation quickly turned into a broader regional conflict. And once multiple countries are involved, a war stops being predictable. Why this war was years in the making. To understand why this happened, you have to go back to the slow buildup that most people never notice. For years, tensions between Iran and Western powers have been growing. A key moment in this timeline was the collapse of the 2015 nuclear agreement. That deal was supposed to limit Iran's nuclear activities in exchange for economic relief. When it broke down, trust disappeared. From that point forward, both sides began moving in different directions. Iran continued developing its missile capabilities and expanding its regional influence, while the United States and its allies increased pressure through sanctions and strategic positioning. It became a cycle: action followed by reaction, pressure followed by resistance. By 2026, the situation had reached a tipping point. Neither side fully trusted the other, and both believed that waiting could make things worse. So when the strikes finally happened, they weren't the beginning of the story, they were the result of everything that came before. Why the whole world cares. Now here's where things get interesting, and a little uncomfortable. This war is not just about Iran. It's about where Iran is located. Right next to it lies the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important energy routes on the planet. Around 20% of the world's oil passes through this narrow stretch of water. Think about that for a second. One small area, controlling a fifth of global oil supply. So when conflict breaks out in that region, it doesn't stay local. During the war, Iran restricted shipping and created uncertainty around safe passage. Tankers slowed down, companies became cautious, and global markets reacted instantly. Oil prices surged, fuel costs increased, and suddenly, people thousands of miles away, who may not even follow global politics, started feeling the effects. This is why the Iran war matters globally. It connects directly to something everyone depends on: energy. A war without a traditional battlefield. One of the reasons this conflict feels so confusing is because it doesn't follow the rules of traditional warfare. There are no clear front lines, no single battlefield where everything happens. Instead, the conflict is spread across different locations, different methods, and different strategies. Iran, in particular, is not fighting a conventional war. It is using asymmetric warfare, which focuses on disruption rather than direct confrontation. Instead of facing a stronger opponent head-on, the strategy is to create pressure in multiple areas at once. This includes targeting shipping routes, launching missile strikes across various regions, and using alliances to expand influence. It's not about winning one big battle. It's about making the entire situation harder to control. And when a war becomes unpredictable, it becomes more dangerous. The economic shockwave. If you want to understand the real power of this war, don't just look at the battlefield, look at the economy. Because within days of the conflict escalating, global markets began to react. Oil prices jumped as supply risks increased. Airlines warned that ticket prices could rise due to higher fuel costs. Shipping companies started adjusting routes, and insurance costs for transporting goods through risky areas went up. And here's where it gets interesting. Wars used to be fought mainly with weapons. Now, they also impact financial systems, trade networks, and everyday costs. This means even people far from the conflict are affected. You might not hear explosions where you live, but you might notice higher fuel prices, more expensive goods, or changes in travel costs. That's how modern wars extend beyond borders, they reshape economies. The problem: no clear ending. Now pause for a second, because this is where things become uncertain. One of the most concerning aspects of the Iran war is that there is no clear endgame. There is no defined point where one side wins and everything stops. Military operations are ongoing, and while diplomatic efforts are happening, they remain unstable. Countries like Pakistan, Turkey, and Egypt have attempted to mediate discussions, but reaching a lasting agreement is complicated. When a war has no clear ending, it creates a different kind of risk. It can continue longer than expected, expand into new areas, or shift in unpredictable ways. And history has shown that conflicts without clear goals often become the hardest to resolve. The human side of the conflict. Behind all the strategy, politics, and economics, there's something easy to forget: the people. Thousands have been killed or injured, and many more have been forced to leave their homes. Cities that once functioned normally are now dealing with disruption and uncertainty. For families living in affected areas, this is not about strategy or global impact. It's about safety, survival, and trying to maintain normal life in abnormal conditions. And this is the part of war that statistics often fail to capture. Because every number represents a real person, a real story, and a real loss. Why the situation feels confusing. If this war feels complicated, that's because it is. Multiple factors are happening at the same time. Military action, economic impact, political tension, and global consequences. No single explanation can fully capture what's going on. And when people face something complex, they naturally try to simplify it. This is where misunderstandings and sometimes conspiracy theories begin. When answers are incomplete or unclear, people start looking for hidden explanations. But in many cases, the reality is not hidden, it's just complicated. There isn't always one simple reason behind events like this. Instead, there are multiple layers interacting at once. The bigger picture. The Iran war is not just a regional conflict. It is part of a larger global dynamic involving power, influence, and control. It affects energy markets, international relationships, and economic stability. It also highlights how interconnected the world has become. A conflict in one region can quickly impact countries across the globe. This is the reality of modern geopolitics. Nothing happens in isolation anymore. The question that matters most. So the next time you hear someone explain this war in a simple way, take a moment to think. Because if something affects global energy, multiple countries, and millions of lives, it cannot be reduced to a single sentence. The real question is not just who started it or who is winning. The real question is how all these pieces fit together and how much of the full picture we truly understand. Because sometimes, the most important part of a story is the part that is still unfolding. And now the question is, how do you see it? Is this just another war, or something much bigger shaping the future right in front of us? Because the more you understand what's really happening, the less simple the world starts to look. If you want more deep, real breakdowns like this, make sure to like and subscribe.